No. I have a German Shepherd trying to attack me as I'm trying to start a live show, so that's not good. But here we are talking about some interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. All kinds of fun stuff going on. Never a dull moment. I'm the Christian Whistleblower. We're here to talk about life and death. Which one are we in? How do we know? And where are we going? Ladies and gentlemen, people are saying good morning. Hello, Rocker Chick. It's been a minute. It's evening here. If it's morning where you are, that's great. I'm just glad that you're here, ladies and gentlemen. And we talk so much about life. We worry so much about life. We talk so much about death. We're afraid of death. What if we've got them completely and totally reversed? What if we have no idea about what's actually going on? It is a bizarro world. It is an opposite world. We are living in the upside down. And the more I learn, the more convinced that I get. And I'm not wearing my glasses. I got a little bit sidetracked, but hey, I will survive. So here we are. We're talking about life and death. What does the Bible really say? And as Chase Carrington says, it is unindoctrination time. And it's either time to find out how unsophisticated you are or how unindoctrinated you are, or at least how unindoctrinated you're willing to become, because we're about ready to get rolling with some unindoctrination. So ready or not, here I come. Let's go ahead and go into the scriptures, and Zoom is working for us today, so we can do that. We're going to go ahead and zoom. See what I did with that? Right into the scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to talk about life and death, and we're going to talk about death and life. And we're going to talk about talking about it. Look at this, folks. We know that we've passed from death to life. So that's the first thing that I know right there, is we can know. It doesn't have to be a guessing game. It doesn't have to be speculative. If the writer of the book of John, which was either John the Apostle in this portion or Mary Magdalene, I think this is Diamond, if the writer was correct, we can know that we've passed from death unto life. We can be sure, ergo, what death is. We can be sure what life is, and we can be sure how that we know that we go from one to the other. So that would give us a fairly decent understanding, right, of what they are. And I'm in the Jay's WhatsApp group with it's called Highest Level Learning. And I put something in there because I was starting to get upset, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to clean this up because I can't say what I was going to say. What I did say in the group, I said, I'm going to stop being pissed when I discover how we've been effed. I think you can extrapolate what that is. I'm going to stop being pissed when I discover how else we've been effed, because I was getting a little upset. All these things they've done to us for all these years. So I'm going to stop being upset when I discover how else we've been effed, and I'm going to start celebrating my findings like a game. I think I'm going to call it uneffery. So we are now involved in the game, ladies and gentlemen, of uneffery. And see, it really did go out, but we're not going to say exactly how I said it then. So a little bit of uneffery, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So we know, ladies and gentlemen, or we can know, we should know, because it's at our fingertips. We know. What does the word know mean? I mean, while we're here, we might as well see what the word know means. The word means to be aware, to behold, to consider, to perceive. You can, ladies and gentlemen, know, perceive. You can know that you've passed from death to life. Now, let me ask you something. To go from something to another thing, don't you have to be in that thing? So what does this mean? To have passed, to have withdrawn from, to have departed from, To change a place of abode or being. Abode means where you live. Remember the way you can remember Adobe, abode, Adobe, abode. It's like where you live. To leave, to depart, to remove, to pass over. Only here, nobody dies and there's no blood involved. Ooh, that's a key. Nobody dies for you to go from death to life. And there's no blood involved. Woo! There is some heavy live revelation on YouTube. It says to pass over, ladies and gentlemen. Only this Passover, there's no angel of death. Only this Passover, nothing gets sacrificed. On this Passover, nothing gets crucified. No dead guys on a stick. No blood. We just pass over. And the beautiful thing about this Passover is the Passover of the Jews, the Passover of the Christians, aka crucifixion. You still can't know. You still can't know that you've passed, from death unto life. You can't know that you've passed from death unto life in their Passover. You're not assured, because you could still mess up, have some sins, not be as good as you're supposed to be, not give enough, not be enough. But, ladies and gentlemen, in the true divine Passover, oh, this is really good stuff. You should subscribe to this channel right now. Even if you are subscribed, no, don't hit it again because I'll unsubscribe you. If you're not subscribed, go get a friend or an enemy to subscribe right now. This Passover, ladies and gentlemen, see, it is a game. Don't you love uneffery? This is a game. There's no blood. There's no sacrifice. There's no dead guys on a stick. Nobody dies. No bad angels. We just pass over. And this one, we can know, ladies and gentlemen, know for sure that we have passed over. We've moved from one place to another. Where have we moved from? From. What does from mean? It means from out of. Okay, so we are moving out of this. What is it? We're moving out of death. Ooh, we're moving out of death. Oh, but it's physical or spiritual. No. This is commentary. We're moving out of death. Watch this. What's the real word mean? Where's it derived from? The word to die. I die, am dying, am dead. Dead. So I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, if, as the scriptures say, we can pass out of or move on from death, then what are we in? If we can pass from death to get to life, what does to mean? It means to come into. If we're coming out, if we think we're coming into life, which is, what does life mean? Life means life. It means life. Look at the root word. It means life. So if we're passing into life, then we have to be coming out of what? Death. Ladies and gentlemen, look at someone near you and say, cousin, you're dead. Look in the nearest reflective surface and say, cousin, you're dead. Ladies and gentlemen, you're dead. I didn't say you're dead. John, Mary Magdalene said you're dead. But the good news is, even though you're dead, you can pass into life. You can pass into life. Let me lay another something on you. Some of you aren't real convinced yet, but watch this. Watch this. We can move into life. In him was life. And what was life? The light of men. The darkness can't overcome the life. So if the life was the light of men, then the light is the life of men. If life is light, then light is life. So how do you come into life? Through the light of the Christ and his message. Pretty simple, right? Pretty easy, right? Pretty good, right? We're dead. We are dead, ladies and gentlemen. We're dead. Period. We're dead. But how do we then get out of death? We know what death is now. There's no more surprise. This is death. We are living right now in death. It may be called life, but it really is, spiritually speaking, death. We are dead. But we can pass to life. How? Because. What's because mean? Since we can introduce ourselves into life by doing what? By loving, agapeoing, to love who? Our neighbors, our brothers, everyone. Now, we need to break this down a little bit, because it's not just love your neighbor and boom, you're alive. There's a deep spiritual lesson here. What did Jesus say was the most important law of all? Love your neighbor as yourself. What does that absolutely require? For you to love your neighbor as yourself, what must you do? You must love yourself. And to love yourself, then you have to understand how to love yourself, and you have to get out of this sin idea. That's the only way. You can't love yourself if you think that you're full of sin. You can't love yourself if you've got original sin. Hell, even God couldn't love you because of sin. He had to kill his own son, stick him on a stick, and keep him on a stick just so he could stand your stench. Tell me I'm wrong, Christians. You were so bad that God couldn't even look at you, so he had to kill his own son and dunk you in his blood just so he could stand your smell. And most of you Christians keep him on the stick. And those of you that don't keep him on the stick, you keep the stick. And you say, I'm crazy. Watch this. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. Where am I at? For he that has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin. Okay? For he that has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin. Quit sin. What does that mean? Let's look at this in the interlinear. So for he, arm yourself with the same mind. If you have suffered, if you have been acted on, if you've experienced, if you've been treated really good, if you've been treated really bad, if you have suffered from the flesh, the human nature, the materiality, the flesh. Let's look at this again. What does it mean? It means having suffered. What does this mean, this word again? It means having acted in a way of flesh, having understood the experience, having understood the treatment, good and bad, having gone through the suffering, having gone through the experience of being what? Of being in flesh. So once you have gone through the experience of being in flesh, which means what? It means being in a human body. You're done with sin. What does that mean? That means once you figure it out, once you say, I understand this experience. Don't ever say Jeff doesn't come straight from the word. Look at this. I'm up one side of the word and down the other side of the word. I'm like in between letters. I'm like on this letter, down that letter, up, whoop, boop, 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 all around the letters. I'm in the word. Once you experience the experience, once you understand the good and the bad, once you understand the ill treatment and the suffering, once you get this whole thing about being flesh, you say, wait just a damn minute. Wait just a damn minute. Jesus said, love my neighbor as I love myself. So I got to love myself. How do I love myself? Because, Jesus said, I don't have original sin. I got the spark of divinity within. He said, I'm a God. I'm part of God. So, I get it. I get it. I got divinity within. I got the spark of divinity within so I can love me. Yeah, that makes sense. I got that light, and that light is my life. So now I can forget this flesh because I got it figured out now. I got it. This flesh is here to set me up. This flesh is here to hold me down, but I get it. I'm not this flesh. I got the spark of divinity. I figured it out. Now I can move from what? From death, from flesh to life, and I can be what? Done with sin. I'm done with it. Just like you're done with the last boyfriend or girlfriend you had that didn't work out. You're done. Watch this. Done. I have left off. I have stopped. I'm out of it. I'm done with this whole idea of sin. I'm done with it because it's archaic, it's unsophisticated, and it's stupid. Dead guys on sticks. Wicked from the time you took your first breath. It's not even in the Bible. Well, it's in the other God's Bible. It's not in the real God Bible. You know what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, you can pass from death to life. How? Because you love your brothers. And the way that you love your brothers is to love yourself first. And the only way you love yourself first is because you know you don't have original sin anymore. So you've gotten past flesh. So you pass from death, which is the flesh, to life in the spirit, even though you're still in the flesh. How about that? How about that? And the one who does not love themselves and realize that they're not a sinner, the one that does not love themselves and realize that they're not filled with original sin, the one that does not love themselves and realize they have the spark of divinity within, they remain in death. They stay in death. Why? Because it's love that gets you out of death, and it's loving you and loving your neighbor. I didn't say it. Jesus said it. If you want to yell at somebody, email Jesus. Somewhere somebody say, I don't even know these people. They all send me, Jesus, what you do? No. I don't think you can really email Jesus is my point. And some poor guy named Jesus will get all of your hate mail. But the one who doesn't love their neighbor, the one that doesn't love their neighbor as themselves, the one that doesn't love themselves remains. You remain. You stay, you abide in what? You stay, you abide in death, ladies and gentlemen. Death. You're dead right now, but we that have figured this out are not dead anymore. I'm not dead, but you are. Most of you, lots of you, some of you. There's a lot of smart people here. Almost 32,000. But I am talking to some walking dead zombie mofos right now. And you're dead. And if you want to come to life, all you have to do is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love yourself. Realize that you're not filled with original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. The kingdom of God's in you. It's in the book of Luke. Look it up. I'm not going to spoon feed you. But if you don't want to, you can remain in death. It's up to you. You can remain in death. And then look at this. Everyone that hates his brother is a murderer. And do you know that if you don't really love yourself, you'll never really love your neighbor? And it's just a matter of time before you have a hate thought about your brother or your sister. It's just a matter of time before you have a hate thought about your brother and sister, because if you think you're filled with original sin, you know they're filled with original sin, and you know sooner or later they're going to do something, and you're going to have a hate thought about them, and you're going to be a murderer because they say that even if you think about it, it's really murdering, and we know that eternal life doesn't reside in a murderer. That's how it makes sense, cousin. Had nothing to do with somebody that really killed somebody and then gets right. They can find life, but you can't find life if you're murdering in your thoughts, because that means that you haven't loved your brother, which means you haven't loved yourself, which means you haven't got past the original sin and you're still in death and haven't got into life. Woo! That's good stuff. We really should sell tickets, because this is way better than the movies. It's way better than Starbucks. And I am underpaid. Oh boy, this is good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. And I can even say it backwards. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is some good stuff. We are dead. But now you know how to come to life. So, hey, raise the dead. I did it live on YouTube. Thousands of people raised from the dead live on YouTube. That's what I need to put this title. That's what I'm going to make this title. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, trying to get you to stop being unsophisticated, get you unindoctrinated, get you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. I'm trying to get you into life from death, but some of you just want to lay in your graves. Well, bye. We're the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy.